Welcome to another edition of Rise and Shine. Today with Shellene, we're going to solve all of the nation's problems. We got on the I say okay right now the affirmative action was in the news recently about the courts saying that Harvard, actually some Asian students in Harvard sued Harvard, saying they didn't get in because of quotas, and they were, I think that sort of spurred there was a lawsuit there from some Asian students who had real high test scores that didn't get in, and then that makes somewhere along the nation the affirmative action argument came back up to where people were speaking about why do any quota system for blacks in colleges. That's what the affirmative action was, to make sure, especially if you got public funds, to make sure that the people that made up the nation resemble that of the institution or the company that was being paid for by public funds, being a paper mill or what have you. If you didn't receive public dollars, get public subsidy, then it didn't apply to you. But if you're sitting back receiving half your money or a percentage of your money from the federal government, it said that you should make sure that your workforce resembles that of the community. Now we're getting away from that, and on education, it seems that when the affirmative action went into effect, historically the numbers have been going down a little bit as far as college enrollment when it comes to African Americans, except for the black female. Females numbers have stayed the same or have increased, but the black males, as far as the men enrollment in some of these schools, the numbers were not going on the increase like it felt that affirmative action was going to do for it. So it's interesting to see how that will pan out. But I said all that to say, it looks like that the African American is the #1 minority in the country. It may not be that way for long. I think if you see the way that folks are deciding not to have children, the Planned Parenthoods are mostly in the minority communities, and so most of the abortions happen in minority communities. You know, people get mad at President Trump is saying he's going to defund Planned Parenthood, but when you look at who's getting dumped on most by these agencies, unfortunately it seems to be people who are of color. And then so okay, you quit having children of people of color, and then south of the border, people like Guatemala says, well, let's send our kids to America. It's like, send your kids. They're not sending the parents, so the parents are not coming, just sending the kids up to America, as if we need more kids to populate the United States. So it'll be interesting to see 20 years from now if we're still the same minority, because if we're not the #1 minority then, you know, we're second or third to other minority races, if you will. Actually, European American may be the minority by then. I don't know, but I think that the numbers are shifting. But do you see a shift in the population? What do you think the population would make up in 2020? You already talked about.
Oh, you're talking about 2020.
Yeah, 2020. Oh, no, let's say 2030.
Oh,
2020 is not
yeah,
far
yeah,
away.
that's,
Yeah,
I was about
2
to say.
years.
Yeah.
You're talking.
Yeah, now 2030, 10 years.
Or 12.
Well, now it depends on what you said about the female.
No, I'm saying about the population as far as the mixture. Minorities, okay, right now the minority make up, you got European Americans, African Americans, Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans, and Indian, Middle Eastern Americans, and I think African Americans probably make up the minority population group.
Well,
So in the 2030 census, do you feel that the makeup would be 2020 across the board, all the races, or do you think it'll be, how do the numbers match up?
well, I don't see it changing quite that fast. I don't see it until maybe 2050,
Okay.
where the minorities would be more of the majority.
Okay.
Because right now I see Caucasians stand on top, and as far as blacks, we Americans, the ones that's been here, it's kind of up in hand because the males, majority of them, our males ended up in prison.
Yeah. Now,
And that's not changing.
well, I think the if someone says to you, as an African American male, if you shoplift, you get the death sentence, and as a Asian American or European American, if you shoplift, you get probation. Then you think that send a message to the African American male that you really don't need to be shoplifting because the penalty seemed to be harsher. And it sounds like we're just sort of uh, it's a racist statement, but when you go to the prisons and talk to the people who are incarcerated, you realize, and when I watch TV, it really hurts me, when I see TV and it'd be like, you see these little petty crimes happening over and over again, petty meaning theft of something, but if you see a habitual person stealing, eventually that person's going to get the book slammed at them. So they're doing 30 years for stealing Tootsie Rolls. Whereas, so at what point do you tell the person, look, you can't afford to steal, unless you want all your freedom to go away, you can't afford to steal these Tootsie Rolls. At some point you got to say, the criminal justice system is not as fair to you as it is to some others. It may not be, depending on where you are, depending on the judge, depending on a lot of factors. But at the end of the day, when you go to Alabama prisons, and you speak to the prisoners like I've done, now the white female, the European American female, makes up the majority of the prison population in the state of Alabama. But the African American male, as you said, as we all know, makes up the majority of the population by far of the prison, and it does nowhere near resemble the community makeup. But who, you say, okay, is it the environment? Is it the what's making you, or what's causing you to continuously commit these crimes? Is it we can be high and mighty and say, well, don't do it, or we can say, well, is it our what's going on in the community? Is what's going on in the workforce making it to where you have to commit these crimes, or is it a choice that you did have another choice? You could have an option. People are sitting in TV land who think that everyone has options, but let's put that prison system on hold for a second and look at the immigration. Well, immigration 10 years ago, you paid $1,000, you fill out an application, you're in line to be considered for to get a citizenship or to get a green card, if you would. Well, today, is it $10,000? It's not $1,000 anymore. It's certainly not $500. And $500 to an American sounds like not so much. But if you're making $30 American, you take American money, and equivalent to $30 of your American money, if that's a month's pay in most of these countries, $30 a month. You're telling people they need $10,000 to get in line to come to the United States. Well, who's got $10,000? That's a lifetime worth of money. $30 a month. 10 months is $300. 12 months is $360. It takes 3 years of working and putting all your money in a pot to make $1,000. 3 times what? 10, 30 years of working and putting all your money into a pot, not being able to eat, not being able to pay rent, not being able to have transportation, not being able to buy clothes, to get application to this country. So now you see people rushing the border. So we got to fix it on both sides. We got to make it a pathway to immigration or citizenship, if you would. We're going to be a nation of immigrants. We're going to open our borders and say that people are welcome. Then let's show it by the application process. No journalist has ever paid attention to that part. No journalist. I've never seen a journalist say, okay, look, what does it take if I'm living in Mexico and I want to become an American citizen? What is the process? Have you seen that show yet? Have you seen that 60-minute special, that 2020 special? Haven't seen that special. Have you seen the special where the journalist goes into Guatemala and says, what are the conditions so bad down here where people need to send their kids to America? You see, see a couple of pictures where there's been a special, a full special on that. Has journalists came in there and says,
on CNN did a thing on it.
That's beautiful. Well, that's what we need to see.
And also, and the reason why they're having problems in Guatemala and those in Central America is because what we did back in the 80s.
Okay, but check this out. If you say what we did in the 80s, okay, you got you got governments who are taking care of drug cartels, and our government, our agencies may have some affiliation with that, This is the crops growing into the mountains and whatnot, and the poppy seeds and all this, the poppy plants to make the cocaine or make the illegal drugs. That wasn't the economy of the whole nation. Okay, if you got a situation where you got Central America, see,
if you want to stop this, and they talk about the drugs and stuff, what America needs to do is stop being sick. Get your people here off of drugs. Wouldn't be a need for it. Those people wouldn't, if it wouldn't be a demand.
okay.
And where you start in the community. You know who on drugs.
How you gonna get them on? How do you work with the mentally ill? You cannot tell a mentally ill person to just stop doing drugs. They gotta want to stop.
No, what you do an intervention right all the time. And the police pick you up, don't send them off to jail, do an intervention with them. They stay locked up for a certain period of time, and then they can't get it. That's where you start. Yes, you can do it. You got your church. You got to start small.
Okay, the church has been doing what they're supposed to be doing.
And the church be doing what they supposed to do.
The
family be doing.
The church has been doing it.
No, because everybody about money.
Okay, then.
But if you want to fix this, you see it every day.
Look at it happening in the prison systems. You lock up a person in prison. They got drugs in the prison. They got cell phones in the prison.
You know who will stop that? How you stop that?
Yeah.
With the guards.
That's who's bringing it in.
That's why I say that's how you stop it, with the guards. That's how you stop it. You start small, and if America, look, this is supposed to be a country send a man to the moon. You mean you can't stop this in your community? The ones who call themselves politicians, the ones that call themselves leaders in the community, you can stop this. You even have people in your own family on it. You have to do an intervention where you are. As Booker T. Washington said, drop your bucket where you are. Don't be worried about people coming across the border and sending drugs. If you don't have a demand for drugs, that'll stop it just like that.
You're right.
Look what happened with the alcohol prohibition when they tried to stop it. It got worse. And that's what you're seeing now. That's all you have to do is start small. But the reason why, because the politicians, the police, all of them making money off this. Because if they weren't making money, it wouldn't be a demand for it.
Okay, but check this out. Now, we can blame the corruption, but like you said, if there's not a desire, then the corruption doesn't exist.
That's right.
However, the million-dollar question is, how do you stop the desire?
Like I say, you start small. You start where you are.
How? What do? You work at Cersei. You work with the mentally ill. You've seen addiction. I've seen addiction. I've talked to potheads. I've talked to cokeheads. I've talked to alcoholics. When a person is ready to quit, they're ready to quit. But when a person's not ready to quit, you don't have the power to make a person do what they don't want to do at the end of the day. So a person's desire, I'm just saying, I'm talking from like, I say, you and I are brothers and sisters. We got this a sister or brother of ours, and they want to do pot every day. How do we drop our bucket right there and fix this problem? How do we get this person who's hell-bent on smoking pot every day? We buy pot before they pay rent. We buy pot before they buy gas for their car. We buy pot before they buy clothes. We buy pot before they buy food for their house. How do we get to this person? Because that's the million-dollar question. It's like, yeah, it's about supply and demand. But how do you fix the demand? You're my sister, I'm your brother, and we got a sister here that's sick.
If they're on pot, they're going to get hungry.
Or cocaine. Let's just say anything.
Not on cocaine. They're not going to get hungry. But if they're on pot, I mean, you got to decide what you're going to do.
Okay, fix the pot person. Let's fix the pot person.
They don't eat.
Sisters on pot. Okay.
They don't eat. They're going to get to a point where...
So, I'm going to lock the person up and starve them.
No, I didn't say lock them up.
I'm not going to put them in a cage.
I'm not going to lock them up.
Kid.
No, you're not going to lock them up.
Okay. So
no, you're not going to lock them up. You're going to just let them hit rock bottom. You're going to let them hit rock bottom.
They're functioning pot addict. They go to work, they make a little money, but they spend all their money on pot. They're functioning
well, you say they functioning. If they functioning, they ain't going to spend all their money on pot. If they functioning.
Well, because they borrow from you and I to help them.
Well, you don't lend to them.
Okay.
You can't spend what you don't have.
Okay,
and they're not going to go...
That's our sister. She's on pot, so we're going to starve her. Now, the brother's on cocaine. How do we get him off cocaine?
And how you get them off cocaine?
How do we get him off cocaine? It's a thought. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. Just we're just
how
trying to
you
figure
get
it
them
out.
off of cocaine? The supplier. Who? I mean.
We're gonna hit the supplier over the head.
No, I didn't say hit them over the head. Let them spend their money. When they don't have any money,
So we cut the cash flow off.
you cut the cash flow off. You do not lend, and if they don't work, they don't eat. If they, I mean, like I say, you have to let them hit rock bottom. When they hit rock bottom, and whenever they decide to go and steal or whatever they try to do, then you get them in a situation. See, the court system is not set up right. The jail system is not set up right. You get those people, you help those people. You don't incarcerate them, and you don't, and you guard. You make sure that they not bringing stuff in. You should, and that same thing would happen at hospitals too.
Okay.
At Cersei, right? It's a way to manage that, and it's not being managed. Simple as that. And you have to start small. Especially, okay, now I'm not saying people who they're gonna get in trouble. Okay, your first offense, you have something set up for you if it's your first. Second, you maybe be a little lenient, have something set up. But the third time is more severe, but not to the point where you have to look at it like an illness or sickness. Okay? Same thing with alcohol. You would do the same thing with the alcohol too, even though that's illegal. But you would do the same thing with the alcohol. It shouldn't be where a person that's been an alcoholic, be in a car wreck 3, 4, 5, 6 times and kill somebody all the time. Just like that young boy, the 16-year-old. Even though and this is another problem. Each state can set up their own thing. But if one community come together and come up with a plan, the others would join and have success. And it's not going to be easy. I forget which state it was. These people were on opiates so bad. And the police, I forget what state, the police would take this syringe around with them to keep them from, whenever they overdose, they can give it to them immediately.
Right. And
then that you have to start, like I say, you have to start small, because what we're doing is not working.
Right, and I think that's my biggest thing is we keep doing the same thing. But now there's been drug courts around for a while where you try to give people a second chance and third chance, and some people some people go through it successfully. But the problem is the arrest stays on the record. Now the person have about 20 years or 30 years of trying to get off their record, where they were arrested for drugs. So now they can't. They're sort of held back in society. They can't get the student loans, or they can't get the decent job over here because they're trying to go to the decent job.
That's what we need to change.
But
that's what needs to be changed.
Right.
That's what needs to be changed.
It's sort of a silent cry because these people don't have lobbyists for it. They don't have people spending the money.
That's right.
And these politicians are motivated by.
And this might be considered a socialist idea.
Well, that's not. I mean,
socialism.
The New York girl that won, that was socialism. You know, free this, free that. Everybody government job.
I'm not talking about.
It's not a socialist idea. It's a community idea.
When you say something about helping somebody, they consider that socialist.
That's not socialist. No, that's Christian. That's Christian. That's really any religion. Most religions that speak of loving the neighbor and helping people out. Most religions, if you read the text,
anything to bring about change is considered revolutionary.
Yeah, it is revolutionary. Okay. And revolutionary is not necessarily a bad deal because you got to change. If you're doing something that's not working, you got to change.
It's time to change.
Right. And
blaming other people for trying to make a profit off of what you want. If it wasn't a demand, it wouldn't be profitable.
So hold that thought. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after these messages.
H&H Financial Services in Mobile has over 20 years experience in accounting, bookkeeping, appraisals, real estate, and year-round tax preparations. Give them a call today at 251-438-1620 or visit them at 1560 St. Stephen's Road in Mobile. Let your money grow in our care at H&H Financial Services.
I'm Dr. James Gordon, D.C.
My actions show that I care for our great state. I even named my company Alabama Injury and Pain Clinic. Car smash and hurting? The only number you need is mine and you'll be fine. Chiropractor Dr. James Gordon at 476-PAIN.
Are all pain lines equal?
Maybe so. One call, that's all, at 476-PAIN. The choice is yours. We can fix. Welcome back. We're talking about debtor's prison. We can fix debtor's prison, and there's no debtor's prison, but there's prison because you disobey a court order. But we should be able to fix that by simply having a pathway of folks working out debts that they owe, if you will. And wouldn't that be a beautiful thing that someone can say, okay, I don't have to hide from the police officer or hide from this, that, and the other. I can't even call the police officer. Think about how many people out there get in domestic situations. They're terrified to call the police to help them because of a old parking ticket.
That's true.
Old speeding ticket. That's ridiculous.
True.
How horrible is that to have that?
That's true.
That to be living like that.
Same thing with the immigrants. That's true.
But exactly, I'm illegal, so I can't afford to call the law.
That's right.
But if we had a pathway to citizenship that was affordable, that's why I'd like to see the CNNs or the ABCs or the Fox News or somebody do that special.
Yeah, that's true.
Show us what it takes to become a citizen of the United States. If you're from Africa, if you're from Asia, if you're from Mexico, what is the process of becoming a citizen? That we need to know as American citizens. Then we maybe could understand why people are trying to sneak in and why people overstaying their visas. Because if I apply for a travel visa, say I want to visit America for 30 days, I apply for that, I pay $50 or $100, I come over here and overstay my welcome. But if I apply to become a citizen, is it $10,000? Is it a longer line?
That's true.
Then here's another problem we got. You apply for a travel visa, just to visit. You come here 30 days to visit, or a student visa. You start to have kids in America, or you brought kids with you. We educate the kids. They go to our public school systems. They get K through 12 free of charge like every other citizens. But guess what? After school, no driver's license, no social security card. So wait a minute, what are they supposed to do? These kids have been in America all their life, 10, 12 years. They don't know anybody in their old country. So what do? They're in a state like this poor person. They can't pay their bills. We keep creating these environments that keep people on the fringe of society that we should be able to create pathways to get back on the mainstream.
I agree, because those same illegals, they buy food, they pay taxes.
Yeah.
Everything they buy, they paying taxes for.
Right.
Okay, they also join the military.
Well, until they get a social security number, they can't join. Like the Philippines can join as a Filipino national, but in America, if you join, you're going to have the green card or social security card to join. You can't join the military without
Well,
that.
I heard that they can join.
No, you cannot join the military. Not a federal program. You can't even get. You can't.
What about the
you can't
Dreamers? Do they have Social Security? Because
No,
they got some of them
the
that
Dreamers
are in the military now.
The Dreamers.
Check it out.
That was impossible. But they don't give them a social security
Check
card.
it out.
Okay, the president, when he signed the Dreamers Act, was a presidential order, right? It wasn't the Congress didn't pass a law. If Congress passed a law, that'd be the pathway. That was the whole argument. We create a pathway to citizenship. But until you get the citizenship, you cannot get a social security card. You cannot go in the military without, that's the federal. That's you can't do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. You can't do that, and you can't even hire them locally. I talked to people here in Mobile who graduated from Murphy and these local schools. It's like, well, what do you mean you don't have a social security card? Or whatever? You went to elementary school all the way through high school, and the taxpayers help subsidize that, but we're not smart enough to say, well, since we done paid for you all this way, maybe we should create a pathway for you to as a child who only knows America, only speak English, been through the whole K through 12.
No place but this place.
Don't know place but America. But yet, if you're gonna kick someone out of the country, it should be done within 24 hours or within, when you find out that they're illegal. That's the way I was kicked out. I was kicked out of Ghana, Africa, a black country. Everybody looked like me. My papers weren't right.
They don't trust you.
My papers weren't right. Oh, they trust me. Very loving people. But my stamp was not right on my passport. And they said, you got to go get this fixed. And it's like, can I go to the airport and fly to your country like an hour to the north? They said, no, you go 4 hours to the south where you came in and tell them to stamp this properly. And I know it's 10 o'clock at night or 2 o'clock in the morning, or whatever time it was, you just have to go the next day. And that was it. There was no apologies. There was no food given, no housing given. I could sit my little butt down on that little chair. I can doze off, and I better find a way to get back to the south side of the border. We're not providing you transportation. The only thing we can give you transportation for is that little jail cell behind that bench you're sitting on out front. So you decide what you want to do. But you can go back south and get stamped right, or you can go to jail, we'll feed you. But if you ain't going to jail, we ain't feeding you. And that was the option.
Okay.
And that was with the swiftness. I mean, that was like that day. It wasn't Italy, same thing. We flew into Italy. We flew into an Italian airport, De Gaulle, Charles de Gaulle. Well, we flew into the Italian airport. Anyway,
I thought that was France.
France is De Gaulle. Flew in one of the big Italian airports out there by Rome, Italy.
Okay.
And one of our passports weren't right.
Okay.
You cannot go into our country.
Okay.
You must stay on the airport.
What you call it? Did a movie about
terminal.
It. Yeah.
And that is real, and that is real as real can get. It's guys with machine guns, and there's 500 people from every country in this world on that terminal.
Wait.
And you will not leave this terminal, and the only way you can go is back to your country, but you will not go out in our country, and you will not go anywhere else.
Yeah, I've heard it.
This is real, and it's like, so I wasn't locked in a cage like some child, or a holding cage, or holding cell, or whatever, but I was locked on a terminal, and I could not leave that terminal. And I could sleep out on the floor. There was, they got the little chairs they have in terminals, but once you get like 500 or so people, they fill up pretty quick.
Chairs, right.
You're sleeping on the floor.
Right.
And you got a phone, the cell phone, the phone to call from the United States at the time was $4 to $5 a minute.
Okay.
If you had someone to call, you call collect or whatever on that.
Okay.
But
other than that,
this is where you live until you get your paperwork straight.
Okay.
No apologies.
Okay.
Nobody gave you food. No food.
So you better know what you're doing when you go.
You better know what you're doing when you travel. And same here. So when people come here illegally, there should be some consequences. But what are we doing to help them come legally? Do we have a way they can come legally? When people get locked up for 20, 30 years for petty theft, is the environment to where they could not be the petty thief? That's what I'm saying. So that's my $1 million question. Is how do we make sure we're not creating a problem?